it's wild for me to think that as like a woman that I'm automatically always responsible for the culture, the things, and it's hard. Like the culture, meaning my family where I come from. And I feel that women are forced to just take the brunt of responsibility for what didn't work or isn't working. And that the moment that they try to go after more, it's thought that they are doing too much. Um, you shouldn't, you should stay home. Well, don't you think you already have enough? Why do you have to be like that? It's like Black women and Hispanic women have this statement that's been given to them, like, oh, you got a chip on your shoulder. White women get told, oh, like they're just too sensitive. And I'm like, I don't think any of that is true. I think that any woman, for every color, every woman across the globe, the second that they want more, and the second that they want more than what just satisfies them, it's kind of like if I have a plate of food, right? Like imagine I got a plate of food in front of me, and the idea is I should just be grateful for whatever you shared me. I don't want to be grateful for whatever you shared me if I'm still hungry. I really want the ability and the freedom to go get a second helping. There's some magic in getting a second helping. I have been in situations, I'm sure you have too, where you've been made to feel bad for getting a second helping, for getting bad to go grabbing another cookie, not being, not sharing to what's enough. And it's like, I felt so many times along my journey that it was crazy for me to just be okay with just having enough. It is not okay to just have enough. Now, I'm not even going to talk about money now, like even just people supporting me. I remember hearing from someone close to me. I want to say it was my mom once, who was like, like you should be great. Like you should be grateful for what you do have. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be grateful for what I do have, but I don't want to negate the fact that I want more. Like, why do I have to just be grateful for what I do have? And why do I have to whisper down the fact that I actually want more? Can't I do both? Can't I be grateful for what I have and want more at the same time? The answer is yes. You can totally be grateful and want more at the same time. There is nothing wrong with that. And I don't want you to live a life. I don't want you to wake up tomorrow, listen to everybody tell you that you absolutely need to just be so thrilled. I have, I remember the first moment that I really needed to pay attention to what more meant for me. And I'm only making about $3,000 a month. I live in Homestead, Florida, and I really truly need to put my husband at the time out the house. And it's just bad. It's bad all around, in between going to bed hungry and him being gone and dealing with all types of, him being gone in the streets. I found myself in this really serious, sick place of feeling angry and upset. And I remember after he left and walked away, I did put him out, but he walked away and he's never looked back. I remember being in that house and thinking to myself all the time, like, this house is so messy. And I just don't have it in me to clean. I'm waking up at 5. I'm taking the kids to school at 6, to preschool. I'm driving from Homestead to Miami, where I went and worked, not worked, but, cold called, knocked on doors. I knocked on 45 doors every day in heels. Shit's hot. Miami, Florida, that world is hot. It was crazy. I sweated my ass off, worked only, got chased out of buildings because of no soliciting signs and all types of stuff in Coral Gables, Florida. And I drive home 5 o'clock, racing to beat the clock for 6 o'clock because it's $1 a minute per kid when I'm late. Don't, God forbid that I'm late for 20 minutes. It's $40, $20 to $40. So it sucked. So I'm in this cycle that I can't get out of. And it's okay to acknowledge a cycle you can't get out of, but it's not okay to stay there. I'm in this cycle. I can't get out of this thing. And finally, I decide I'm going to hire someone to clean my house. I heard from someone else that they had a person clean their house. And I was like, how do you get that? Like, how do you get one of those people? I remember hearing the price. It was between like $200 and $300 for the month. It was twice a month. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Everybody thought I was nuts. And I was like, I'm going to have them come clean my house. Stephanie, you can't do that. I was like hell, I can't. And the idea was that I should just hunker down and clean the damn house myself. This thing was 3 bedrooms and 2 floors, and I was exhausted. These kids were little. I was ripping and running the whole day. We would get home at 7, 8 o'clock at night because sometimes I'd pick them up from preschool, go back out, finish proposals. I did not have a computer or laptop that I traveled with, so I had to come home, do all my typing and computers at home. Like, it was crazy. You're buggy. I'm not doing that. So I finally make this decision against everybody else's like insecurities. I make this decision to just pay for the damn thing. And let me tell you, sometimes, and the principle here that I want to teach you is that sometimes you have to pay your way through. So me paying my way through is how I got to the next version of myself. And I needed to pay my way through and stop listening to everybody else who had their insecurities, their fears, their ideas of how I should live my life, and just focus on how the hell do I want to live my life. I wanted a clean house, semi-clean house. I wanted clothes that I could wear that didn't smell. Like I wanted stuff. And I don't want to apologize for it. So what I did was I stopped eating meat. I stopped feeding, and I didn't go vegetarian, but it was expensive. So I cut it out. I cut out a couple other things that were like you would think are basic. And I got really good at making rice and beans, and which is arroz con frijoles in Miami, black beans. It was like 25 cents a meal. We would eat it at least once a day. It was crazy, but it tasted amazing. And I figured out how to make some stupid killer black beans that like slap your mama kind of stuff. So here we went. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Because I needed to pay my way to my sanity. My sanity for me was coming home and the house was clean. I would give them the key at 9 o'clock in the morning. I would leave for the day and come back, and they would leave the key under the mat or something like that. And boom, my house was sparkling, airtight, clean, 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 clean. Money. I knew that other people would not approve. I was not living for that approval. I could not live under the thumb of that approval. But what I could do was pay my way through. Now, some expenses that we have as women when we're looking for our more, they're not justified. They are really stupid, and we should not spend that money on them. But there are some of them, anything that results in you paying your way to your sanity. Now, if you're like, well, Tiffany, I stop and I get coffee every morning at, Pete's Coffee or John's Coffee, and it's $7 a pop. Now, let me tell you something. If you stop it in John's Coffee and it's not really a coffee shop, it's John's house, that's something else. I may not be mad at that. But if you are going to a coffee shop and this thing is $7 a pop, and that's $41 a week, and that's $200 a month, I'm going to say to you, no, ma'am, that is not part of the more. That is not a more thing. More is you taking the money and assets you have and planting it in seeds that will germinate for you so that you have more of whatever the hell it is. For me, I needed more time. What is your more right now? What is the more that you need right now? I needed more time in these streets. I also needed like more sanity because I was going crazy emotionally, dealing with my ex-husband, dealing with the kid. I was going nuts. The thing I needed was a clean house. I paid my way through. This thing worked like gangbusters until I left Miami or left Homestead, Florida. There are some people who are naturally like they want to organize everything, and they're just like organizing their panties and organizing their socks and refolding them and ironing them, and that is not me. I don't do any of that. So paying my way to the outcome. That year I paid for someone to come clean my house, and as far as I'm concerned, every woman who's in that chapter of more, you should not be cleaning your house. Second, what I also did was outside of cleaning my house, I started to take my clothes to a lavanderia. Now, I've talked about this before in different places, but my reason for hunkering down here is because not enough women are spending money on the right things. They're spending money on things that hush things instead of money that grows things. Don't spend money on things that hush things. Spend money on things that will grow for you. Grow. Now, I'm not talking about investments. I'm not talking about stocks. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. Even though that stuff is very valuable, I'm not talking about that because that's for a different time and a different moment, a different conversation. But what I am talking about is you getting what you need in order for you to win, for you to thrive. And you thriving is in paying your way through till you get to the next chapter. So there's a woman out there who's going to say to me, well, Tiffany, I always do. I pay my way. I don't do my hair and my nails myself. Newsflash, your hair and your nails is not part of you. Let me just talk about relaxing. So another area that you need to pay your way through is relaxing. Let me tell you what this is not. Doing your hair and your nails, I get a manicure and a pedicure. That is not relaxing. That is called maintenance. It is maintenance. That is not something that I'm like, oh, Tiffany, oh, yes, you're taking time for yourself. Forget that. You're bugging. That is maintenance. You have to maintain yourself, especially at your level. If you already plan at a level of more, you got to go maintain yourself. You can't walk out nails not done. Can't do that. So because of that, because that's the case, like for real, I want you to be in a place of saying to yourself, where can I make money? Where can I place money or spend money that's going to buy me sanity? Maybe it is someone coming to your house to do your hair and your nails. That I get because I do it. Maybe it is someone because don't have the time for the other. So yeah, you're going to pay a premium for someone to come to you. Done. Money. Someone to clean. Someone to cut up all the vegetables for you in your fridge before you cook. Someone to prep your meat before you cook. A sous chef. Like someone, imagine you could pay someone $150 to be the sous chef and organize all the stuff in your fridge and get it cut and get it done for you. You can have a lavanderia, a laundry mat, come pick up your clothes. Maybe not your dry cleaning, because those people be bugging on prices for dry cleaning sometimes. They're like $38.99 for a shirt. A what? The shirt only cost me $12. What are you talking about? No, we're not doing that. So for sure, like there are areas in which like you should not be doing your own car maintenance. No, pay someone. I had a client once in California. She was they probably were doing about $2-3 million. One of the things I put in place in her company was as she was working on her more years ago with me. I love her. I won't say her name, but I literally talked to her last week. I had someone come to her house, get her cars, because she had 2 cars and then she had a work vehicle. They took her cars, put gas in her cars every Sunday or something like that. Cars were always gassed up. She didn't have to stop at the gas station. Sounds crazy. It's best $50 you could ever spend. There are so many ways in which you can make tiny investments and get your more. These are a couple of my few. Some of my others, like if you shopping, totally let someone else shop for you. Do grocery shopping, do clothes shopping, shoe shopping. Totally. That's definitely an area. If hair is really tough for you, get a hair consultant, and let someone tell you how to quickly get through this thing. Deciding on your own makeup. Like there's so many areas for me where I'm like, spend the money on that. The only place I've never spent money on for real when it comes to my more is someone paying someone to help me travel. Like I've had an assistant and things like that pre-pandemic that, book things and stuff, but I've never had someone who like handles all my travel arrangements for me. I like to do a lot of them myself. I don't know, maybe I'm old school, but that's probably the only other area. However, I could see putting someone on my payroll to do that. One of the things that you could also do is pay for a house manager. Maybe you can't pay full time for a $60,000 for a year, but maybe you could pay $10,000 a year for a house manager. Maybe you run a big life and a house manager would just free up your mind. Make sure that there are groceries, make sure people eat, take people to appointments and stuff like that. My kids are too old for a nanny, but I'm heavily thinking of like hiring a mom. I don't even know what the title is, but it's like a mom, like a Sue mom. I'm dead serious. Would I put money there? For sure. Why? Because all 3 of my kids, even the 2 that are in college, are still calling my name, asking me for stuff. And I want to be as involved as I possibly can. And it's not that I can't do everything, but there are some things that if I got help doing them, we'd be off to the races, right? Next 10 million, here we come. All right. So I don't know where this falls for you, but I'd really love to know how you're going to apply. I'd love to know how you're going to apply this more this week. And more importantly for me, how you going to go get it and make it happen. This is good. This is delicious. Don't be afraid of it. Go ahead and pay your way out of it and explain nothing to nobody because it's not their business. Bye, bestie.